Recognize Mr. Grothman from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'll point out, I think we have the most divisive administration I've ever seen. And one of the things that bothers me, I have union workers in my district. I get along with them well. Some of them support me. But there's this almost hatred for non-union workers. And I hope there are rumors out there that maybe illegally on some contracting, you don't do a lot of the contracting, that they're giving preferences to unionized companies, or in other words, discriminating against non-union. I know that shouldn't be done, but that rumor is out there. And certainly statements like that in which we, in essence, run down non-union workers and imply that we shouldn't care about them are not helpful in an already divided country. Well, in any event, there is the mandate that we have a lot more electric vehicles within the next 7 years. I talked to a lot of my car dealers about it. They feel that there's no way we're going to be generating enough electricity in this country to deal with this many. I'd like to ask you, how much additional electricity do you think this country is going to have to generate in order to prepare for this onslaught of electric cars in 8 years?
Well, we're going to see demand increase, not just because of vehicles, but because of data centers and AI, as well as the additional manufacturing facilities that are coming online. NERC has projected that it will, in the next decade, you will see about a 15% increase in electricity demand. But the good news is we have got the tools to be able to respond to that demand increase. Can I just say one other thing? Just to be very clear, we care about all workers, union or not. Just to make it very clear, we care about all workers having the benefit of a good paying job, and that's what we're working for.
You ought to sit on this committee for a couple months. I mean, some of the members on the other side of the aisle, it's like all they care about is if you're unionized. And I know so many good people, great people who aren't unionized, and they should represent them as well. Next question I have, and you can tell me if this is true. I knew a guy with a car, and electric car, and he had to hook up stuff in his garage. He wanted to be prepared to hook up right there, and he felt for the hookup it cost him $8,000. Is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know the circumstances or how far away he was from the line, et cetera. Normally, that's definitely way more expensive than what it would cost to just plug in your garage.
Okay. I kind of want to follow up here on what Mr. Donald said. Right now, we're kind of cutting back a little bit on the amount of natural gas we're producing, which will result in raising the cost of natural gas, which will be bad for the American middle class, like a lot of policies. Maybe the poor are subsidized and the rich don't care, but it hurts the middle class, not to mention it's going to drive up the price of natural gas for countries that export it, like Iran and Russia. Could you comment on that? I mean, the fact that obviously if we're restricting natural gas production, we will be driving up the cost, or we could drive down the cost by producing more.
We're not doing anything to restrict natural gas production.
Okay. You don't feel that your policies are increasing the price of natural gas on the world markets?
No, sir.
Okay. With regard to the strategic oil reserve, I'm not sure that's true. With regard to the strategic oil reserve, do you know right off your hand how many billions of barrels we had when President Biden took office and how many we have today?
We have 365 million barrels today. The maximum that the reserve holds is over 700, but I don't know the exact number the day he took office.
I think it's about a 40% reduction since he took office. Does that concern you? I mean, I always figure you can get a short-term benefit in getting rid of our strategic oil reserves, but if it ever comes down to when we really need them, if this country was at war or whatever, then we'd have a big problem. Do you have any goals? If it's dropped from 630 to 368, do you have any goals between now and the end of President Biden's term as far as where you want to have that wind up? Are we going to work our way back to 630? What do you think?
We are in the process of solicitation for refilling. We've been refilling. We've refilled
very mildly.
Pardon me?
Very mildly. You
which-
can get back to the 630, or how close to the 630?
Well, let me just say that part of the reduction was because of congressionally mandated sales as well. We've got about 100 million of congressionally mandated sales that are still on tap. We can talk about that. We worked with Congress, thank you, to cancel 140 million. So we're basically back to where we would have been had we not been doing the releases in response to the war in Ukraine.
Okay.
And we have the largest in the world, so I'm not concerned to your initial question. I'm not concerned that we would not be
We're big
able to
consumers.
respond.
We started at 630. Where do you think we'll be next January?
I think we'll be back to where we would have been, again, because of congressional sales, absent the release of the 180 million barrels.
Okay, thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Frost from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much, Madam Secretary. It's great to be